Imagine waking up in a home that feels cleaner, decluttered, and actually works for your life today, not the life that you had 20, 30 years ago. But most people over 50 or 60 freeze when they think about decluttering and downsizing because it's emotional, it's overwhelming, it's full of a bunch of what ifs. Well, today we're going to talk about the three biggest mistakes I see people what they make when it comes to decluttering, uh, what to keep versus what to toss, how to stop family arguments, and 7 practical steps that you can take to make real progress fast without regret. So I appreciate you joining me today. My name is Chris Kemp. I'm the creator of the website timetorightsizing.com. Lots of free resources, information on there for you. I'm going to have some free handouts. Look for those down at the bottom of the page after this video is over. So I'll also give you a free checklist. That link will also be down below at the bottom. So the 3 biggest mistakes I see that people make after helping people declutter and downsize for quite a few years now. The number 1 biggest mistake I see is they have no plan. They just start winging it. They just start getting boxes and throwing stuff away willy-nilly. They don't know really what they want to keep, what they don't want to keep. You know, we have to start out with a strategy. That's why I've created down below, like I said, the free checklist for you. It'll give you some guidance and where to start. It goes room by room so you can check things off as you go along. So you got to have a plan going into it. Number 2, letting guilt decide. So, keeping grandma's unused soup bowls or kids' old trophies just in case or out of obligation, that's not going to work anymore. We've done it for 20, 30 years. We've got to let some of those things go. So we need to honor those memories by letting those things go. True respect is using space for what serves you now, not holding on to things that you've had forever that you have no use for anymore. And ask the kids if they want that stuff. Some of those things might be important to them. Maybe the 3rd grade baseball trophy from the 3rd place championship that they got 25 years ago might be important to them because they can show it to their kids or something like that. But before you just toss that stuff out, give your kids a chance to go and see if they want any of that. Mistake number 3 is expecting everybody in the family to agree. We all have different opinions. Some people have really strong opinions on what to keep, what not to keep. Maybe the spouse wants every tool. That would probably be me because I love my garage and I love my tools that I collected over the years. Kids suddenly claim that the china cabinet or the china that's chipped and broken, that how dare you get rid of that now? I always wanted that. No. And then when you ask them, okay, well, come and get it. And then they say, well, no, maybe I really don't want it. That's where they put their mouth where their money is, so to speak. So they've got to find out if they really want that stuff, they've got to come and get it. So we need to set some general boundaries early. We need to invite input from them, but we can't go by what suits their needs. You have to go by what suits your needs. So what I've done with my family and what I've told other people to do is let people know that you're going to be downsizing, give them an idea about when you plan on doing this stuff. I usually give them plenty of time in advance. I've told my kids, hey, in the next year, if you don't have all your stuff out of here, then everything's going to get donated or it's going to get thrown away. So give them plenty of time. And then I'll remind them throughout the year, you need to come get your stuff. And we've even put it all in boxes and labeled most of it for them, nice and neat. Most of them are gone now and they're married. They have their own families, but they can't keep their stuff at your house forever. If they don't want it, then get rid of it. Okay, the 7 steps to declutter and downsize smart. So number 1 is visible quick wins for momentum. So start where you see results today. Clean out the fridge, clean out the pantry, toss expired food, take one junk drawer out and just go through it and organize everything and throw most of the stuff that's in there out. Everybody has a junk drawer. It feels really liberating when you can have some small wins. So start with some small wins. It's like a debt snowball. Small progress builds, motivation keeps you going, and pretty soon you're on a roll, and then you're starting to see progress that, hey, maybe I can get this done. So we want to do some visible quick wins first to get that momentum going. Number 2 would be the big stuff first. So say you have some bedrooms that just, old beds and mattresses and furniture in there that nobody sat on for 10 or 15 years and nobody seemed to want, and nobody uses. Well, donate that stuff. Get rid of it. Give it to DI. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Talk to your family members. Maybe your children have need for an extra bed or something like that. Or maybe there's a needy family in your neighborhood that doesn't have a bed. We recently helped an immigrant family move in, and they didn't have any silverware. They were sleeping on the floor. They were just in really bad shape. And we had a couple extra beds, and we had lots of silverware and plates and dishes and things. And so we gathered all of that stuff together and we took it over to them and gave it to them. And they could not be more thrilled. They were so happy. And now they're some of our best friends, and stuff that we weren't using anymore and we didn't want and they desperately needed. So I'm sure there's people around like that that you can help out. So get rid of the big stuff first is number 2. Number 3 is the junk and trash purge. Okay, so all of those old cords and chargers, that VCR instruction manual from the 1980s that you had to save, but the VCR is long broken and gone, it's time to get rid of that stuff. Look, those things pile up like crazy. It's incredible how many cords I have from 1990s that don't fit anything anymore, how many cell phones I have that you don't want to throw out. Well, the cell phone bins at Walmart or Best Buy that you can drop that stuff off and they recycle it or do whatever they do with the batteries and the tiny bit of gold and silver that's inside there. That's certainly not worth melting them down to get out of it. But recycle that stuff, get rid of it. The cords have a little bit of metal in them. You can recycle that as well. But that's stuff we're never going to use anymore. All of those old VCR remotes that don't go to anything, all of that stuff, just get rid of the junk. It will feel so liberating, I promise. And when it comes to the junk and trash purge, apply the 2-year rule. If you haven't looked at it, used it, or touched it in 2 years, it's time to go. Now, with the exception of some maybe specialty Christmas items, or maybe there's a certain waffle maker that you only bring out once in a while when you have big family gatherings and it has some sentimental memories for you or something like that, that's fine. It doesn't take up a lot of room or space. You can keep that stuff. But the rule of thumb is if you haven't touched it in 2 years, you don't need it anymore. Just go ahead and get rid of it. It might be hard to do, but trust me, just get rid of it. Step number 4 is the kitchen holiday nope list. So this is the duplicate muffin tins, the gadgets you never use, the lidless containers, the old Christmas lights that don't work. Maybe they work halfway. Toss that out. Go get some brand new LEDs for $3. LEDs will use way less electricity and they don't get hot. They don't have the fire risk that the old Christmas lights had anyways. That bundt pan, for example, that you used 10 years ago to make the last bundt cake that you made. Well, toss that stuff. You don't need it anymore. Why do you think when you go to a thrift store, there's a million bundt pans? Because people throw that stuff out. They don't need it. And they're only $1 a piece or 50 cents a piece. So if you're going to make a bundt cake and you threw your pan out, go down to the thrift store, buy something for 50 cents, use that pan, and then toss it out or give it back to the thrift store, or you can buy the disposable ones from Walmart. Get rid of the stuff that you don't use on an ongoing basis. All right, the sentimental items and photos. What to do with all of those things that we've gathered, the 3rd grade pictures that little Johnny or little Susie drew for us that is so unique. I'm pretty sentimental, so I have those stored in a file folder for each of my children. They don't take up a lot of room, and I don't save everything, but some special Father's Day cards or Christmas cards or birthday cards from people, maybe they passed on, and I like to see their handwriting and things like that. If they don't take up a lot of room, and you can put it in a clear file box, then just keep those things. But just know that when you're gone, it's not going to mean anything to anybody else, and they're probably going to throw that stuff away. But if you haven't looked at it in a few years, honestly, just toss it and get rid of it. If you want to take some pictures of it to keep as a keepsake or a memory and put it on a special file on a disk or on a computer drive, go ahead and do that, or scan those things and give those special drawn pictures and other things to family members that might have some special meaning for them. But all of that clutter and things like that, just, categorize them take photographs of them, but toss it. It's just taking up room and space. You'll feel a lot better after you do. Don't be the family museum for everybody. You can't keep that stuff forever. Okay, so this one is a game changer for me personally. So smart storage and the ongoing rule. The smart storage means that you use the plastic bins only, the clear plastic ones, not the colored ones because you can't see what's in there. The cardboard boxes that get wet or attract the bugs because they like to live in between the sheets of the cardboard and they're just nasty and you go to pick it up and everything falls out anyway. Get rid of that stuff. Costco and Walmart sells the cheap clear plastic bins that seem to last forever. So get those. That way you can look and see what's in it when it's on the shelf, when it's full of stuff, and you can realize, hey, I haven't opened that plastic bin for 5 years. I should probably go through it and get rid of that stuff or just donate all of it at once together. So you can use that stuff and group it all together. You can put labels on it. My wife is a huge fan of labels. That way you know what's in it. All right, step number 7 is connect to your future. Look, let's face it, a decluttered home is more pleasant to live in. It's funner to live in. It's less of a trip hazard for you if you have a lot of clutter around. It shows better when you're going to sell it. So if you think you might be selling in the next few months or a few years, start the declutter process now. Sometimes it can take a long time. I do remember recently when my father passed away that I was given the task, because I was the oldest son, of getting rid of 60 years of stuff that he accumulated in his home. Now, he was somewhat of a hoarder, as well as my mom. She was somewhat of a hoarder, and she was still around. So what we did with all the kids, we went in, we had her sit down in the living room and made her comfortable. She was there in front of the TV doing her knitting and things. And when we had a question about something, whether we didn't know what it was or we didn't know if it was important to her or somebody else, we would bring it to her and ask her, hey, what's this? Do you want to keep it? And we would create piles for donation, piles for garbage, and piles for this is John's stuff or this is Scott's stuff, different people in the family that stuff that they really wanted. So if you have a member of the family, your dad or mom or somebody that's passed away, and you have somebody else that can be around to help you decide what to do with some of that stuff or what stuff is important, what's not important, so you're not throwing away the good things, take advantage of that opportunity and do that now. So if you're getting any tips or information out of this video, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button so we can share this with as many people as possible. Also, down below, give me a comment. What's the one thing that you have finally decided to throw out or let go of? What's something that you want to get rid of that will help you feel liberated? Once you start getting rid of a few things, then it's kind of a snowball effect like we talked about, and it just feels better and better and better until you get cleaned up. Okay, here's some survival tips for the emotional side of things. Look, getting rid of a lot of these things generates and creates a lot of emotions that you may not have felt for a while. So, some of these things might make you cry, and that's okay. Give yourself some grace. It's okay to feel these emotions. Take breaks if needed. If your emotions get to be too much and they start to overwhelm you, have a family or friend come over and sit by with you so you can talk to them, and they'll help you talk through the process of getting rid of some of these things. Also, set yourself a timer. Maybe 20 or 30 minutes a day, you're going to work on a specific section or item or drawer or room or whatever it is. But if you do little projects in 20, 30 increments, maybe on a rare occasion, you could sit down for a whole Saturday and get rid of a whole room and a bunch of stuff, or a section of the garage that you need to declutter. Well, those occasions are fine. But generally speaking, if you do it in 20 or 30 minute increments and you have a specific area or section that you're working on, then you can celebrate those wins. Sit down and have a piece of your favorite chocolate, or sit down and have, your favorite drink to celebrate those wins, because that will create and reinforce in your mind that, hey, I can do this, I can get this done, this feels good. All right, so here's a bonus tax perk that most people overlook if you don't know about it. So in the IRS, there's a capital gains rule. It's if you're single and you've lived in your home for more than 2 years, you get a $250,000 deduction on whatever capital gains you have on selling your home. Now, if you're married and lived there for over 2 years, you get a $500,000 deduction. Now, that money can go straight towards investments or straight towards buying a new home, but you don't owe any taxes on that. So that's a huge win. Also, there's something called the step up in basis. Now, when my father passed away, my mother was still around, but they bought their home in California for $27,000 back in the early 1960s. And they lived there for 60 years. And when he sold that home, it was a little over $1.5 million. So we sold that home and the step up in basis, all of that money, normally you would have to pay capital gains on that. Now they were married, you would have the $500,000 deduction, but they would have owed taxes on $1 million. And in California, that would have been, $300,000 or $400,000 at least by the time you combine state and federal in taxes. But with the step up in basis, since my mom was still living, that money went to her, and that house was the basis of the house was stepped up to 2020 value, which is 1.5 million. So she paid zero tax on all of that gain. So make sure you ask your accountant or professional tax person about step up in basis and the other IRS rules that can help you out when you go to sell your home. Now remember, down below, I made the decluttering and downsizing checklist for you. It goes room by room with different prompts for 2-year reminders. Gives you ideas on how to declutter, and it's just a great checklist to go through line by line, room by room, so you don't forget anything, and it helps you build progress and let you know that, hey, I'm making progress, I'm checking these boxes off. So look for it down below. It's free, and I'll have it there for you so you can download it. So remember to like and subscribe this video so we can share it with as many people as possible, so we can help them free up their life, get their freedom, get their life back, get their home back, and have it be a safer place so there's no tripping hazards and things like that. We want to share this information with as many people as possible. You can take my free readiness quiz at timetowrightsize.com. I'll also have that link down below in the description. So thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video.